You are making the world a better place by listening to the Joy of Living podcast. This is your guide to achieving a more purposeful, powerful, and positive life. Join Barry Shore in unlocking the best version of you and becoming happier, healthier, and wealthier. And now, here's your ambassador of joy, Barry Shore.
Good day, beautiful, bountiful, beloved, immortal beings, and good-looking people. Remember, you're good-looking, you're always looking for and finding the good. That's the definition of a good-looking person, looking for and finding the good. You are so fortunate. We have good squared, maybe even cubed today. It's just going to overflow, and you're going to be experiencing something that you will cherish for the rest of your life. I'm not going to give it away who's going to be on. Two amazing beings, and plus me. And we'll be talking about, of course, we discuss on this show, and that's the reason you tuned in. And I am humbled and honored to say that I really appreciate it. You know me, the Barry Shore, the ambassador of joy. And this podcast, of course, is called The Joy of Living. And you took and used and invested your most valuable asset, your time, to listen. Because you know, in this show, we discuss the three fundamentals of life. And when you use these three fundamentals of life, the result is you'll be happier, healthier, and wealthier. Who doesn't want that? The three fundamentals, of course, are number one, life. Your life has purpose. And when you lead a purpose-driven life, number two happens. Now, in this case, it's a good number two. You make a difference, or as we call it, you go mad. Make a difference. You live a purpose-driven life. You make a difference in the world. And the third fundamental of life is to uncover the power and the secrets of everyday words and terms, such as WWW. Ask anybody, what does that mean? And they say it has to do with the internet. And of course, factually speaking, they're correct. Now, in our world, the world of the positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant, WWW stands for What a Wonderful World. And you got to have a tip of the hat and a big thank you to Louis Armstrong, Satchmo, for enabling that song to go viral, not just touch tens of millions or hundreds of millions, but billions of people around the planet. And whenever you hear the opening bars of that amazing song, What a Wonderful World, what do you do right away? You can't help it. You smile. Now, smile is one of the most important words you could ever integrate, utilize, and leverage in your life, because smile stands for seeing miracles in life every day. Seeing miracles in life every day. Now, I got to tell you, I've been blessed to speak to lots of people. And recently I did an in-person situation. We had 1,172 people in the audience. And as happens almost all the time, some people are raising their hand and say, hey, Barry Shore, I've been up for hours. I haven't seen any miracles. And I asked them, are you here? Can you hear? Can you stand still? I can't do that. Can you walk? I can barely do that. You have water to drink, food to eat, place to sleep, family, friends. Every single one of those is a miracle. What's the proof? Simple proof. 1 million people didn't get out of bed this morning. You know why? They died. By definition, if you're watching and listening, you didn't. Therefore, you have an obligation to learn how to live life to the full. Let me tell you a quick story. It's about me. Imagine, if you can, standing up in the morning, completely healthy and hearty, able to leap tall buildings in a single bound, and that evening being in the hospital, totally, completely paralyzed, not for an automobile accident, not a spinal injury, a rare disease, which I never heard of the day before, took over my body and rendered me what's called a quadriplegic. Nothing in my body moved, my neck down. Nothing. I could only communicate by blinking my eyes. 144 days in the hospital. I was in a hospital bed in my own home for 2 years. I couldn't turn over by myself. I was in a wheelchair for 4 years. I had braces on both my legs, my hips to my ankles. That was progress. Thank God today I'm able to be vertical and ambulatory with the help of a 7-foot walking wand. So I'm a triped, not a biped. Still can't walk up a stair by myself. I can't walk up a curb by myself. I help 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. But you hear my voice. Positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant, all because of one word. Smile. Seeing miracles in life every day. But I got to tell you, my 8-year-old niece comes over to me a few weeks ago and she says, Uncle Barry, can we spell smile? S-M-I-E-L. I thought about it. Smile sounds the same. Why not? Asked her how come. She says, because then it would stand for seeing miracles in everyday life. Out of the mouth of an 8-year-old. But what was she doing? She was creating the kind of world she wants to live in. Now, CREATE is a fabulous acronym that stands for causing rethinking, enabling all to excel. That's the key of life, what we call a shift in perspective. That's why the title of my latest book, I published, thank God, 3 books this year. I didn't, but my partner, who you're going to hear from in a few minutes, did. And the latest book called Oh Shift. Now, I've been working with people for more than 40 years. And I can thousands and thousands of them. I can tell you 97.2% of people I work with drop the F in shift and the other stuff happens. That's why we, on the cover, we put Scrabble tiles, OH, then an SHI with the F, just a little bit of line and a T. It's just a tiny shift in perspective. And guess what happens? You can now internalize, utilize, and leverage the 6 most important words you'll ever learn. Choice, not chance, determines your destiny. How you choose to respond to any given situation will determine the pathway of your life and the trajectory. Now, before we bring on our amazing guests, we have 2 of them today, and they are so wondrous. I mean, I am just tickled, humbled and honored that they're going to be here. But I got to warn them in advance and you that I do use a lot of 4-letter words. I even use the FU 4-letter word, and I do it because of the shock value and fun. Now, of course, we live in the world of positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant. So the 4-letter words we use are love, life, hope, free, gift, pray, play, swim. And the 4-letter FU word is fun. Fun, yes. F-U, capital N, capital N. Now, right away, some people saying, hey, Barry Shore. Fun's only spelled with 3 letters. Not in our world. The world of the positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant. We spell fun, F-U, capital N, capital N. So after the show, see your family and friends. I want you to point your finger, twinkle in your eyes, smile on your face, remember that standpoint, and say, tell everybody, F-U. But add right away, capital N, capital N. So what are you talking about? Well, I was listening to Barry Shore, and he wants to teach the world to F-U, capital N, and it will get the conversation started. And then you can talk about all the amazing, wonderful, uplifting ideas, information, but more importantly, transformation that you encountered today. So before we bring on Ken and Kenny, Ken 3, I'm going to urge everybody to use the 2 most powerful words in English language 3 times a day from now and the rest of your life. You know why? Because it will make you happier, healthier, and wealthier. What are these 2 words? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks stands for to harmonize and nurture kindness. To harmonize and nurture kindness. Imagine you walk into your coffee shop, order your fancy latte, you sit down, somebody brings it to you. Say thank you. You go to the coffee shop, you order a fancy latte, a few minutes go by, nobody brings it, you say, wow, go up to the counter. What happened? Oh, we forgot. I'm sorry, we're busy. We'll bring it to you. You sit down. Another minute goes by. You start to bring it. You still say, thank you. You walk out of the coffee shop. It's raining out. Somebody holds the door open for you. You say, thank you. You walk out of the coffee shop. Somebody slams the door on you. You still say, thank you. You're in traffic. You're late for an appointment. Somebody cuts you off. You say, thank you. Get up in the middle of the night and you stub your toe and it hurts. That's right. You say, thank you. To harmonize and nurture kindness. I can't think of any 2 people in the world that I would love to introduce you to that kindness. Kindness is an amazing word that stands for keep inspiring noble deeds. And the 2 wonderful Ken and Kenny Rochon. Welcome, my beautiful, bountiful, beloved brothers. Please say hello to 355,728 people around the world. Ready?
Hello.
Now, those of you who are watching are getting a real treat. Not me, but them. I mean, you got to look at this. This is Ken Rochon and his wonderful son, Kenny Jr., who is Ken 3, really, because it's 3rd line. And if you'll notice, those of you who are watching, but if you're not, I'll explain it to you. Ken, who is just 7, right?
Kenny is 10.
10. That's what I meant because I'm talking about the first 10 years. Hello. He's 10. He has this beautiful head of hair and he combs it across the forehead and such like that. Yeah. And it's the one on the cover of the book. And his dad right next to him, completely bald. Now, of course, he shaves it. It's not, didn't go bald, but it's just such a contrast. I love it. It's so wonderful. So we're honored, deeply honored to have amazing Ken Jr. with us today, who's going to start off the show. And the reason is because
Kenny the third.
Kenny Third. And if I were to tell you all the things about Kenny Third, it would take half of the show. If I told you anything about Ken Rochon, my beloved friend and partner and son, it would take the whole show. So we can't do it right now. But suffice it to say, Ken 3, he writes books. He is a prolific author. Now, I say that because we have hundreds of thousands of people listening out there. Most of the people are under the age of 35. So you're all young, but you're not 10. Now, imagine a 10-year-old who has published multiple books. And his latest book, My First 10 Years, it rocks the world. I mean, it's just so interesting and transformational because it's all about a philosophy of life that he's been able to imbibe from his father and his mother and ideas. So let's just jump right off and kick it off and say, wonderful Ken 3, what would you like to tell the listening audience about your first 10 years?
In my first 10 years, my earliest memory was of learning after my book is not just making my book, but also going on my first podcast. I told some jokes, and the first joke I ever said was called a buffalo joke. And could I say it real quick?
By the way, writing a joke book, a book about jokes is one of the most fun things you could do because laughter, enabling people to laugh is one of the most healthful things you could do. Kenny, did you know that you're a doctor? You're a doctor because making people healthy by laughter is the way you give medicine to people. So thank you for that. Tell us something. Give us, if you'd be so kind, just two of your philosophies and ideas about life.
Okay, I'll cut the philosophy of smiling short because I can't remember the whole book. But this one, a smile releases chemicals called dopamine, oxytocins, and serotonin and endorphins. And those are the good chemicals that give joy to the world. And there are some bad chemicals too if you're not actually smiling that much. And it's called what is called cortisol. Yeah, cortisol. But cortisol could result with cancer and other diseases that result in cancer, and we don't want that. That's why you have to have laughing on a daily basis and be happy regularly and be joyful.
So let me unpack something that our beloved Ken 3 has shared with us. There are mechanisms that are available to every human on the planet to help heal you. You can release powerful, positive, purposeful, pleasant chemicals into your body and your brain, right, Kenny? By simply doing what every human being wants to do, which is smile. When you're smiling, you are releasing these chemicals into your being. And if you're not, or even worse, if you're frowning and you're sad and such, then you are creating a negative, not just a negative thought, but a negative aspect of your body, right? You're causing hurt and pain. So if you have a choice, wouldn't you rather be happy and smiling and creating goodness in the world? Isn't that your philosophy, Ken?
Yes.
Thank you so much. I mean, this is what an honor and a privilege to have you here, especially during this time that we call Thanksgiving. Giving thanks is another mechanism that enables these endorphins to be released. Because when you give thanks to, let's say, your parents, your aunties and uncles and friends and such like that, you become a channel of goodness. Did you know that? You're a child of God. And there's not, look at him smile. Anybody watching this right now, you're so privileged. If you're only listening, I can tell you one thing. When I just said that to Kenny, first of all, he smiled and his father smiled right away, because that's what happens when you recognize that you are a channel of goodness, a child of God. Well, then you can't help but smile, because you're now completing the circuit. God wants you to be that circuit, that wonderful beacon of light to the world, and we love you. Can I tell you, I wrote down a quick acronym for your name, Kenny. Can I tell you what it is?
Yes, please.
Okay, Kenny stands for Kenny. Knowing energy nurtures never-ending yields. A yield is something that happens in the ground. So you see, if you put a seed into the ground, and let's say you plant the seed of wheat, on that wheat stalk, one seed on that wheat stalk, how many seeds do you think are on the wheat stalk?
Like how much? I would say about like an estimate about like 500.
Excellent. Okay, let's hear what you just said. 10-year-old, wonderful fellow. I asked him a question. He thought about it, and he just recognized, I put one seed into the ground. I want to tell you how great God is. I put one seed into the ground, and I got something that yields 500 times. When you smile, Kenny, you are reverberating more than 500 times to the world. You are creating a tsunami of goodness always. How you like that?
I like it.
Yeah, what's not to like? You are so fabulous. Dad, would you like to add anything at the moment?
Well, I would like to add that he, that the 12 books he's done, he did it himself, and he learned what was in those books. He was required to know 50% of the knowledge inside the book. So if you see a science fact book with the periodic table, or you see a trivia book or an America book with 25 places to visit, he's learned half the information.
Okay, I want to reiterate something you just said. 12 books, right? 12. Hello, everybody out there. If you even have a thought that I don't even like using the words, I can't write a book, I urge you to do something, which is go write a book. I mean, it doesn't have to be 250 pages, and it doesn't have to be War and Peace. It doesn't have to be the Bible. Write a book. Write a book that says 20 pages. Do it on a topic that you like. That's it. Whatever it is. It could be horses. It could be stars. It could be growing things. It could be cow manure. Who cares? Write a book about something that interests you. Write it and publish it. Even if you're publishing it just on the internet, it doesn't matter. Write a book. The exercise, the process of doing that enables you to concentrate your being, and you become a channel of goodness. Kenny has written 12 books. I'm going to tell him right now, everything you want to know about Kenny and Ken, just go to my website, barryshore.com, www.whatawonderfulworld.barryshore.com. It will all be there. And Kenny has something special. You can get all 12 of his books at a very special price, one time only. And I urge everybody to do it. $97. They normally sell for $220. You can get all 12 books. But just go to my website, barryshore.com, barryshore.com, and learn about Kenny, learn about Ken Rochon. Hundreds of thousands of people listening, and we urge you, share this with 5 people. Notice I didn't say 50 or 100 or 1,000, 5 people. That way you'll touch 1.5 million people around the world. Write a book. Write a book. You know why? It's good for your soul. Am I right, Kenny? Isn't it good for your soul?
Yes.
Thank you. Now, I'm honored to say we have sponsors of the show and they love us. We love them. We wouldn't have them on if we didn't think they were valuable to you. So we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back after this with Kenny and Ken. And unless maybe Kenny can't stay, but it doesn't matter. We'll be right back. Don't go away because you're about to be experienced, to quote Jimi Hendrix. We'll be right back. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. Hey, everybody. You know me, Barry Shore, and you know my story. Standing up in the morning, able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. That night, being in the hospital, totally, completely paralyzed. Talk about a change of life. I was faced with lots of issues, difficulties, paths forward, if there was to be one. And I'm here to tell you that finding advice from professional people makes all the difference, certainly in my life. And I would urge everybody to consider doing so in your life. And if you've ever had the opportunity to find someone or some two people that are really matched up with you, then you know it makes a difference. I urge you to consider using BetterHelp. BetterHelp, if you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, so it's designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill in a brief questionnaire. I've done it to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. This is your opportunity to make a difference and become the best you possible. Let therapy be your map with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/joy of living today and get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/joy of living. BetterHelp, HELP.com/joy of living. Best wishes. Bye now. Good day, beautiful, bountiful, beloved, immortal beings, and good-looking people. Remember, you're good-looking because you're always looking for and finding the good. Our cup runneth over with good. Two amazing beings. Ken Rochon, one of my dearest friends in the world, a partner, the tip of the spear, the Keep Smiling movement, a PhD. He is the essence of giving, and his amazing son, Kenny Jr., Ken 3. And we're just so privileged and honored. Now, you got to hear the beginning of the show again. You have to listen. You got to share it because this is transformational. Information you can get anywhere on the internet. Inspiration, yeah, Barry's great. I love it. Okay, but that goes away after a little while. You all know that. You need the T word. This is transformational. This is transformational. I think we're going to have tens of thousands of people say, I'm writing a book. Just it. Dedicate an hour a day for 6 weeks. You got a book. That's it. Now, I'm going to go to Ken Rochon. Ken Rochon Jr., I told you, so I start telling you all the things about him. It will take the rest of the show. Suffice it to say that Ken himself has published published 47 books, and he has published over 300 books of leaders in something called Dose of Hope. Let's just jump right in. Ken, first of all, pleasure to have you here. His company is called Perfect Publishing, and it is. And again, everything you want to know about him, about Kenny, just go to my website, barryshore.com, BARRYSHORE. Ken Rochon Jr., I want you to address, if you'd be so kind, the Keep Smiling movement, because to me, it is one of the most important experiences that anybody in the world can have, and it will be a tipping point for goodness.
I would love to do that. I know that Kenny is celebrating with his family, so I'm going to release him, but it's ironic that you say that because that was the one thing I wanted to make sure he included. Now, when he did these 100 philosophies, he did 100 philosophies he did in this book, and some of them include how he changed the world, my prediction of the future, my philosophy on commitment, my philosophy on time, what is 10 science facts I learned, et cetera, et cetera. But he has something he wants to share for the show. You know, we've given away about 4 million of these cards, right? About 4 million?
Over 4 million of these cards, which read, keep smiling,
and 45 languages.
in 45 languages.
So and I'm going to Canada next week, and we got the one that says "Keep Smiling," eh? So we got
Yeah,
we got
right.
it Canadian. We have it in. We're going to Times Square for the release of the jumbotrons. Your book will be shown at the jumbotron, and of course, we're going to try and do it video wise so that you can actually shift.
Oh, shift.
So that's going to be on the jumbotron, but that's in New York. You know the New York translation of "Keep Smiling," right?
Hey, keep smiling.
Well, we put it, "Hey you."
Oh,
Keep
very
smiling.
good.
So Kenny's going to be leaving us, but he'll be always happy to come back on the show. But what I wanted to share with you is we together have given away 4 million cards, but this young man every single day gives away, I'll say about an average of 3 to 5 cards a day.
Wait a minute. You know what that means? Ready for this? I'm doing a special hug. We're going to do a group hug for all the hundreds of thousands of people at the end, towards the close of the show. But right now, Ken, are you ready for your hug? Kenny, you ready for your hug? This is me to you, you to me. Ready? And remember, hug stands for heartfelt, unlimited giving. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
So Barry, before he takes off, I wanted him to share he has hundreds and hundreds of stories he could tell you, but I just want him to share one of how much this card means to him and what he's seen it mean to others, if that's okay. Is that good?
Not only okay, it's mandatory.
And by the way, I think he should write a book that is actually called Keep Smiling, of 50 of his favorite stories, because I've seen people that said and almost got emotional, "You just made my day. I needed this so much." And they would give him the best of anything. And I remember one time Kenny tried to tip $5 after.
Wait a minute. 1 second.
Yeah, let's you share. You share some 1 or 2 stories real quick.
Okay, so one day when I gave this card to someone who was working at a restaurant, not only did he give me some, it was at Rhode Island, and it was not Chipotle, it was a restaurant, and they had these tokens that they give out, and you could use them to redeem like t-shirts and stuffed animals. But after I gave him this card, at the end of our at the end of him giving us our service, which was great, he gave me 5 tokens. So I bought a t-shirt with those tokens, and my dad made a new friend.
My favorite story of this I want to share, that I was going to share, and he's not going to share that one, so I'll share it in front of him. We were in Washington D.C. in the plaza, and there's all those food trucks, and he went up to this food truck because it had ice cream. That was the one he wanted to do business with. And I'll just say the gentleman was Middle Eastern. I don't know exactly what country he's from, but Kenny went up to him and handed him a Keep Smiling card, and he was absolutely startled, blown away, and he couldn't believe. He had just had a couple customers we watched not really being nice to him. And when Kenny went to pay for it, I think the ice cream was, let's say, $7. He says, no, this is for you. And so I took a couple dollars back, and I said, Kenny, give him a $5 tip. Maybe it was $10. I mean, this was expensive ice cream. And I said, why don't you just give him $5 tip as a thank you for that gesture? He says, no, I want this gift to be just for you.
You are a channel of goodness,
a
child of God. The rewards that come from giving can never, ever, ever disappear. The ripple effect never goes away. We love you.
Can I have him share 2 other quick things? Nothing to do with all the flags he knows, the periodic table, but I'd like him to share what he wants to do to change the world with smiles, or anything.
We're here for you.
I want to change the world by making a movement like my father.
Well, Well, we both made it.
Yeah, we both made it.
Well,
yeah, you
well.
guys both made it. You guys both made it, and I was trying to say exactly what you said. But I wanted to do a movement just like you guys, and like impact the world on joyful and like basically the same effect that it has with the Keep Smiling cards.
Kenny, thank you. Thank you.
And we might be able to convince him that he doesn't need to make a new movement. He can just have ours. So the last thing I want to share, Barry, this is very important. He asked if he was the smartest kid in the world. I said, I don't know about that, but I can tell you this.
That's when I was 7.
I know when you're 7, but I said, why don't you be the smartest kid in the room? And if you could name 60 chemicals, you could identify the solar system, you could know all these science facts, and all these things are in his book. I mean, he knows sign language. He can, oh, by the way, can you spell smile in sign language? You got to lift your hands higher. Just higher. Just higher.
SMILE.
Yep. Good. So he learned. I said, I can't let you be the smartest kid in the room until you learn a mantra that I believe will serve you for life. And it's about not making excuses in life. So I would like to yield 30 seconds just for him to say the bottom line, which is a mantra. All right. Okay.
Thank you. What is the mantra, Kenny?
It's bottom line.
Yeah, it's called The Bottom Line. It's written by a anonymous person, but so I'll just say it real quick. Face it, nobody owes you a living. What you achieve or fail to achieve in your lifetime is directly related to what you do or fail to do. No one chooses his parent or childhood, but you can choose your own directions. Everyone has problems and obstacles to overcome, but that too is relative to each individual. Nothing is carved in stone. Those who take responsibility for their actions are the real winners in life. Excuses are for losers. Those who take responsibility. Wait.
That's okay.
Those who take responsibility for their actions are the real winners. Winners meet life challenges head on, knowing there are no guarantees, and give it all they got. Knowing it's never too late or too early to begin. Time plays no favorites and will pass whenever you act or not. Take control of your life, dare to dream, take risks. If you aren't willing to compete for your goals, don't expect others to. Believe in yourself.
Kenny, you have brought in these few minutes joy, happiness, peace, love, and overall hope for the future. Hope for the future. Hope stands for helping others progress every day. And that's what you just did. Your very being, the fact that you're here and you're alive and you're sharing, you bring hope for the future, despite all of the difficulties and vicissitudes of life. And Dad will tell you what that word is. You bring hope to the world. And I think that you are transforming hundreds of thousands of people right now who are crying tears of joy that there is in this world a 10-year-old who is a child of God, a conduit of goodness. Thank you, beloved being.
Thank you, Kenny. Mm-hmm. So if you want to go with your cousins and play, go for it, all right? Okay. I love you.
Okay, one last thing.
One last thing.
Slay hate and embrace goodness.
He said slay hate.
Slay hate, yes. Create love.
Yes, okay. Create love. That's what he wanted to have as his final message.
One love. So let's continue here, my dear beloved Ken Rochon Jr. I'd like to, if you'd be so kind, just invest no more than 2 minutes at the moment and speak about your beloved brother, Steve, who just passed away, and give just, again, 2 minutes, not more, because we want to spend the rest of the time together and discussing Keep Smiling and other things.
Thank you, Barry. So there are 2 people that I've lost, and both of them have awakened me how precious life is. My mom caused me to write my first book, and eventually became a publisher. And my brother, I'm still waiting for this message, but I think his message was, life is not only precious, but it's to be lived like a saint.
As we say in my world, people are known by their fruit. So thank God he has family and he's influenced a lot of people that will, the actions of these people, positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant, will bear out his name, and it may continue to be a blessing to the world. Thank you.
I'm considering writing either a children's book or something about my brother, and it's going to be called Saint Stephen. And I never saw him get in trouble one day, Barry, not even once. It wasn't like he even tried. He was just a very pure soul. He met his first girlfriend when he was 28. He married her a year later. He had 2 kids. I mean, it doesn't really get much more pure than that. And I said to my son, I said, my brother was like the glue of our family after my mom left and passed. And he was the glue. He made sure we all came together in the holidays. He made sure he cooked for us. He made sure he grilled for us. And he was just, he did it all. He did the finances. He did the cooking. He did the sports. And he was a trivia monster. I called Stephen at the celebration of his life. I called him pre-Google because you could ask him anything he knew. But I'm going to tell you something that happened in the car that really melted me. My son said, when he heard what I said about the celebration of life, he says, "Daddy, you said that Uncle Stephen was the glue of the family." And I said, "Yes, I did." And he says, "Are you now going to become the glue?" So that is my role now. I'm the glue.
Have to, before the end of the show, need to find a wonderful acronym for glue.
I have a start.
Okay, 1 second. Let's do glue. Generosity, love, understanding, empathy.
That is beautiful. I was with God, love, energy, and I mean unifying energy. That's what I had.
Okay.
They're both great. We've always done great jobs with the acronym book, which I just want to say, one of my favorite tasks, and you stepped up to the plate. You took 17 years of acronyms. And the thing that's so beautiful about Barry is that he says, this is our book. Our name's going on the front cover. And I said, no, Barry, this is 17 years of you. I only came up with maybe the concept of the front cover. And I love this. Barry came up with the acronym, but it's just a pocket full. It fits in your pocket, and it's got the best acronyms in it. And you're never going to get anything but, look, I turned to happiness. Which is what, and that's one of my favorite quotes I'm loving life about right now is Gandhi's quote about happiness is when what you think, what you say, and what you do are in harmony. I mean, you don't have a quote, I think, that epitomizes how you could actually be at ultimate peace.
Agreed.
Your happiness is helping all pursue purpose in nobly expressed soulful song.
Woo! That's pretty good.
It is. And, I got to write a chapter in a book about acronyms. And that's what caused me to call you and say, Barry, your acronyms are the best in the world. We need to take all of the ones. And you gave a database that would have been like this thick of a book. I said, let's whittle it down to something that'll fit in a pocket. And so we have this beautiful book, a pocket full of acronyms, all concepts relating optimally and neurologically to your mind strength book. And this is a book that if you're not carrying it with you, you're missing out on some smiles you can have every day. And I have learned every single time I talk to Barry, he tells me, what is hug? And I say, you don't know what hug is? And he plays a different person. He says, no, tell me. So I got to write a book in a chapter in Jen Duplessis's, and it was smiles. She actually contacted me, Barry. She says, I'm doing a book on acronyms, and no one that I know could write a chapter better than you on smiles. And I said, I'm so honored. And I changed your smile to smiles, and it was seeing miracles in life every second. I just added that little bit, but you cultivated me to think that way at all times. And my son, he came up with dose. He managed to get those chemicals rather well because he thought of dose, dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, endorphins. And by the way, I never forgot them after I thought dose, ever. But what an infectious laugh you have that's caused me to really embrace not only my mom's optimism, but the action with which you communicate can always be with joy. It's such a
Joy. And let's tell everybody, joy is a beautiful acronym. It stands for Journey of You.
yes.
That's what it's about. This podcast and every podcast that we do, it's not about Barry Shore, great guy that he is, or about our guests, amazing people. It's about you being the best you. The only reason you tuned in is because you care the most in the entire world about you. That's great, because when you're the best you build more bridges of harmony, create more joy, happiness, peace, and love. And by the way, the books that Ken is holding up, they're available for free. Free. You can get them as an ebook. It's just go to barryshore.com/ebook, and it's worth it. And don't just get them. You got to read it, because they're transformational. Transformational.
And don't just read them. Enjoy being them. I got to say that this book right here, this was we've done about 700 books. And I will say that this is one of my very favorites. You asked me what my 3 favorite books were, and I listed this, and it wasn't to earn brownie points with you. It was because you're addressing what 85% of people are sometimes missing in life. They're actually working through life, or they're walking through life, or they're not happy with life, but they're not enjoying life. And this is actually the solution on so many levels. And any chapter can transform the way you look at life. And this card, if you were to actually say, what is the synonym of this card? It is, what are you grateful for right now?
And I know what I'm grateful for right now, and that is being together with you. Because the energy, the power, the positive, purposeful, pleasant energy that Ken Rochon puts into the world, mostly via his movement, the Keep Smiling movement, and his books and such, is a tribute to what we call humanity. On that note, again, we have sponsors that love us. One moment. We have sponsors that love us. Just a brief break. They're going to come back with Ken, and he's going to mesmerize you continuously for the rest of the show. So don't go away. Be right back after this brief message. Patronize these people. They're good. Good day, everybody. Oh, something special for you. Amazing. Sometimes a great notion comes into the world and causes a shift that benefits everyone. Isn't that wonderful? Everyone benefits. This time it's called Einstein Cares. That's right, like Albert Einstein. EinsteinCares.com. EinsteinCares. EinsteinCares.com. Go there and sign up to be aware of when the site launches. Because guess what this site is all about? Its mission is to give $1 billion to charity without costing any giver a penny. Okay, I'm going to say it again. The mission is to give $1 billion to charity without costing any giver a penny. And it's based upon something everybody loves to do. Shop, have fun, give money at no cost. Go to EinsteinCares.com. That's EinsteinCares.com, and register now so that when the site launches, you will be amongst the first to know about it. So you can shop, earn money, and give money at no cost. What a wonderful world to even be thinking about these things. EinsteinCares.com. Do it today. You'll thank me, and you know you love thanking me. Best wishes. Bye now. Good day, beautiful, bountiful, beloved, immortal beings, and good-looking people. Maybe you're good-looking because you're always looking for and finding the good. Our cup runneth over with good, amazing, wonderful Ken Rochon Jr. And if you didn't hear, you got to listen again to Ken 3, who himself is a 10-year-old, published 12 books. Hello, Ken Rochon, my partner and beloved friend, published himself 47 books, and he's also published 300 books of leaders. He is a leader in helping leaders lead. So let's talk about that, actually. Let's not talk about the Keep Smiling movement for the moment. Let's talk about these leader books. What is the actual purpose? When you approach somebody who is a leader in their field, You want to drop a name or two, that's up to you. But let's take a person who's a leader in the field, has a following, whether it's 500 people or 50,000 people, doesn't matter. What is it that the leader book does to enable them to become the best leader possible and help the people that they influence?
Well, at the conclusion of your last break segment, there was something I had to interject. And the interjection is actually a segue into that conversation. May I interject that? So
Please.
I think you owe it to yourself to get this book, especially when it's free. But I recommend you go on Amazon, buy it, because you want to touch it, hold it, feel it, highlight it, rewrite it.
Oh, you can even buy it from our website, by the way, barryshow.com. You can buy the book, the physical book. Yes.
This is the book I wanted to say is going to address.
Yeah.
Is going to address your question.
Wait a minute. Do you have some names on there you want to drop?
Well, we got Jack Canfield.
Jack Canfield, the co-author of Chicken Soup for the Soul, the second largest title in the history of printing.
And that's my son when he was actually, that's the picture we used for the first book.
Okay, Kenny.
We have this wonderful guy, Barry.
Barry Shore.
Mama Karma, she just had her 17th year of Tiger Lily. 600 people came to the Ritz-Carlton to celebrate what she's been doing for cancer patients. There's my sister right here. This is my lovely sister. And
beautiful.
And there's just so many. This is Greg Jacobson, who did a book on happiness.
Excellent.
But, this is also free, as my point. I would be happy to give this away. But to answer your question, no, there's good leaders, or I should say there's positive leaders and negative leaders. So our focus is to amplify goodness, and that is on the back of every one of the cards, amplify goodness. And so when I go to a leader like a Jack Canfield, I'm actually saying, may I let the world know that your smile makes a difference, that your movement makes a difference, that your message makes a difference. And I just take a picture of them and I say, what are you grateful for? What do you love? And they glean the biggest grin and the biggest sparkle in their eye. And these pictures go viral, but it's because people love to see the spirit of joy that someone emits. And it's funny when someone has a tooth issue or they don't like their smile, when they actually are in a natural state of joy, they're the most beautiful representation of themselves. And I show them, I say, who would you do business with? The person that you showed first, or when I asked you to think about your kids? And they say, that second one. It's always the second one. Always, always, always. So my hypothesis is that there's a pendulum going back and forth in the world that is either inspiring or depressing us as humans. And the more joy, the more smiles per hour, we call it SPH, that are being emitted. So you celebrate the leaders that are emitting the highest SPH, and you're actually making the world a better place to live. But not only a better place to live, an inspiring place to live. And when you're inspired, you become more powerful. When you're not inspired, you shrink. You shrink into actually not thinking you can do things. So our message, Barry, that I love that you've helped me cultivate is that hope is alive. And that leaders like the ones that we are amplifying, they're examples of people that went through insane challenges and made it through because of hope. But the hope was driven by the smiles they were giving themselves and the world. And that's that ripple effect you're referring to. So my son writing a book was the best gift I could give him, because after the second book, my wife actually accused me, and she says, he's writing the books for you. And if he's going to write the books for you, he's not going to be happy. And I said, I don't think he's writing for me. And so I went to Kenny. I said, Kenny, do you want to write books? And he goes, yes, I want to write them. I said, you're not writing them for me, are you? And he says, no. I said, so you're writing them for yourself? And he says, yes. And I said, from now on, you have to come to me with a book idea. And if I like it, I'll publish it. If I don't like it, we'll have a conversation. He came to me every single time. Now, the only exception is I did commission him for $500 to write his 12th book, because I want to know what he learned from doing 11. And his 11th book, by the way, was this cute little book about him going to Machu Picchu. My point of that is I didn't know what I had done. I was hoping I did something great. He shared 100 philosophies, and I was elated when I read. Every single part of this book is enjoyable. Like, what do I believe? I believe that Jesus is God's son. That's the first thing he writes in the book. He believes that there's a heaven and hell. I mean, these are what his beliefs are. And I didn't write one part of this. He wrote something about his mommy that is just really why I feel it is important to show respect to mommy. That was one of the things. 10 reasons my mom is the best. She cooks. She lets my friends come over. She gets me Chick-fil-A. She lets me play games in the morning. Allows me to get cats. Allows me to stay up late. Teaches me takes me to the movies, tells me stories of bad days, and gives me food. And so he's able to communicate, and this will never be taken away. If I had 3 wishes, how I will become wealthy. And he is very in tune with respecting money. When I ask him, would you like to pay for this? He has a pretty healthy bank account because he sells books and he gets 50% of that. And he didn't brag about, but he was going to thank you on the air about you've always supported him with Boy Scouts, and he knows that Boy Scouts are future leaders, and they represent 35% of our military that keep us free and keep us protected. And so I want to say, Barry, every time he's reached out to you to support him, you always did, and I want to say thank you for him. He was going to say,
I want to say thank you for you and your wonderful wife for raising Kenny, because Boy Scouts is under pressure from malign forces in not just the United States, but the world. There is a battle today between good and evil. It is easily seen in some of the war zones around the world. There's a battle between good and evil, between dark and light. This is not nuance. This is real battle. And as I said, what Kenny does for me is he gives me hope. He's a joyful warrior, we call it. To be a joyful warrior is a wonderful thing. You need to be joyful. You need to know that you're a warrior. Warriors are not bloodthirsty. On the contrary, warriors prefer not having to do anything that will cause harm. However, when it is time, as it says in Ecclesiastes in the 7th chapter, I believe it is, there's a time for love, there's a time for hate, there's a time for war, there's a time for peace. And it goes through 28 different times, 14 of balancing back and forth. So it's important to understand that what you are doing with Kenny Jr. and him writing books and you publishing them is the fight against evil. That is so wonderful. We only have a few more minutes. So I want you, though, my dear beloved Ken, tell us just in a few minutes, what you're doing with the Keep Smiling movement, where you want it to be in the coming calendar year.
I would like that every single city that Southwest flies to, it becomes a partner with us in actually amplifying and showing the beautiful people that create a community. Every single city has leaders that solve problems, and those people that solve problems do it unconditionally a lot of times, and they are so concerned about making sure the community is prospering. I want to make sure that all those communities reward and acknowledge and just create more support for them, because it takes, as Gandhi said, one person to actually say, I will be the power of one. I want to see the world a certain way. I will be that solution for that. And when we don't do that, we're the bystander effect, and it never happens. So I always like to go to these cities. The second thing is I really want all these leaders to have a pathway to share their inspiring story, because when they share their inspiring story, it not only inspires others, but it causes them to step into their power, that they actually mattered. And it's such an important part of it. I know that when we do the dose of hope and it gets out to millions of people, that we're sharing miracles. And that is such a cool thing. Like Rudy Rudiger wrote in there, William Paul Young from The Shack wrote in this, Robert Angel, you did. But every single one of those doses is a miracle that someone said, I'm not going to let life dictate that I can't do something. I will do something really great with my life. And when they do that, they give someone that doesn't have hope. And that's such a big gift to give someone. When someone is hopeless and you give them hope, you just gave them life.
I trust that everybody is listening, leaning in and enjoying and saying, yeah, that's true. I get that. You give people hope, you give them life. Remember, hope stands for helping others progress every day. I'm going to sneeze on the truth for a moment.
Do I have one more minute?
Excuse me. That's called sneezing on the truth. Yes.
I have. Okay. So there was a gentleman named Simon Sinek that did a brilliant job of explaining the why and why is so important. And I think that in the dose of hope that we created, Barry, that we came to what is the predecessor of why, which is the who. If you don't have a who that you're proud of, that you love, that you embrace, that you invest in, that you're willing to give to the world, you can never have that conversation of why am I? So you build your who, to a person that you say, I am now the gift I would like to give the world. And you give yourself a gift called a purpose. And that purpose becomes the impact you give to the world. And here's what's interesting. The bigger the investment you make in who you are, i.e. reading books like the ones that we've shown you in this show, when you are at the ultimate who, joy of living, you give yourself the ultimate gift, which is purpose, which has the highest impact. And it's so cool, Barry, that the higher your who is, and you can see Kenny's who is getting very big. So the higher your who is, the higher your purpose will be and the higher your impact will be in the world. So it's very important that we focus on who we are being and how big we are being.
Big. You know what big is? That's that acronym that stands for believe in giving. Believing. When you are a giver, your hope, your why, and your who opens up. It almost sounds like a Dr. Seuss book.
Well, actually, Barry, I hope I'm not going over time, but I need to share how we met. Can I take 1 minute to share that too?
Go ahead. I want to hear. Share, by the way, stands for spreading happiness and rejuvenating energy.
So I never knew that when my mom passed, I would go on a journey that was so long to find my purpose. It took 7 years, and it was almost it was so crazy that it was 7 years. I mean, how many people would go 7 years to look for their journey? And I went to this event called CEO Space, not once, twice, 13 times. Or on the 13th time that I was questioning, should I even go? I met a gentleman named Barry Shore, and he handed me this card, and it jolted me. And he probably had some essence of how much it jolted me, because I was just really stopped, and I just kept asking him questions. And the questions he answered were, well, I give these to people and I give extra ones so they can spread joy. And it all made sense. But I was looking at the card and I was saying, this is what my mom wants me to carry. And this is the card I've been waiting to see for 7 years. And so when you saw that for me, I felt like, wow, the journey, I finally have a discovery. I finally get a discovery because of this man. So I called him and I said, I would like a lot of these cards. And he said, how many would you like? And I said, a lot. I don't know. And he says, 10,000. I said, well, more than that. He said, 20,000. I said, more than that. He said, 50,000. I said, more than that. He said, well, just tell me how many. I said, 100,000. He sent me 100,000 cards within 2 weeks. And I did that.
Well, that guy's crazy.
Well, I did that, Barry, to see how committed you were to the smile movement. When I saw you were as committed to what I wanted to do with this movement, I said, I have a partner. And so your message and me getting around and showing people this, I mean, it's been so beautiful that the perfect partnership, or the perfect partner, is by definition that I came up with, is when two or more people agree in writing or verbally to compete to unconditionally give more than the other. And I have to say, I've never been sad that you won. I've never been sad that I've won. I've always been happy that we both win. We always win at giving.
Absolutely. Now, on that high note, we're going to bring this particular session to a close. I have 3 quick questions for you, my dear beloved Ken Rochon Jr. Ready?
I'm ready.
First question, will you come back again?
As often as you'd have me.
Woo! Number 2, you only have 80 seconds to answer this. You may have already done it, but you have 80 seconds to encapsulate it. What is your most fervent desire?
My fervent desire is to have every single person that is a leader step in their power of sharing their inspirational story and actually causing people to be a stand for themselves, and just living the life my mom wanted all of us to have, which is happiness and joy.
Number 3, may I give you a hug in front of 368,922 people around the world?
You can even do it in front of 8 billion.
Okay. Hug stands for, of course, heartfelt, unlimited giving. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. You're listening to, of course, the Joy of Living podcast with your host, Barry Shore, and amazing guest, Ken Rochon Jr., and his fabulous, wonderful son, the future of the world we had on today, Kenny Jr. And everything you want to know about them, just go to my website, www.whatawonderfulworld.barryshore.com, and get involved, take action. Remember, on this show, we talk about the 3 fundamentals of life, which are number 1, life. Your life has purpose. Lead a purpose-driven life. You go mad. Mad stands for make a difference. And the third is to unlock the power and the secrets of everyday words and terms like WWW, what a wonderful world. Smile, seeing miracles in life every day. Or as my 8-year-old niece says, seeing miracles in everyday life. Create the kind of world you want to live in, causing rethinking, shift, enabling all to excel. And yes, when you do that, you will internalize the 6 most important words in your life, which are choice, not chance, determines your destiny. How you choose to respond to any given situation determines the pathway and the trajectory of your life. And learn to use the 2 most important words, the most powerful words in the English language, 3 times a day, consciously and conscientiously from now and the rest of your life. They will make you happier, healthier, and wealthier. These 2 words are thank you, thank you, thank you, to harmonize and nurture kindness. So a blessing from wonderful Ken and Barry is go forth, live exuberantly, spread the seeds of joy, happiness, peace, and love. Go mad. Go make a difference. Don't go away.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Joy of Living podcast. Now that's another step towards your healthier, happier, and wealthier life. Never hesitate to do good in the world, no matter what the situation. Join us for another upbeat discussion next time at barryshore.com. And be sure to leave a rating and subscribe to the show to get more conversations like this. And remember to share it with your family and friends too. See you on the next episode.